Welcome back to another episode. Ryan here with Chaos MMA, and today we have on Joe Solecki, who fights Alex da Silva on June 4th. Joe, man, how you doing?
Good, man. Just finished up training up here in Belmont, North Carolina at Gym O. Yeah, feel great. Good hard day with the great guys up here on the team, and yeah, ready to go. Excited to fight. Almost 3 weeks from now. So
Yeah,
excited.
yeah, it's almost getting there, and I want to talk about your training camp at the gym later on. But I just wanted to ask you first about your 2021 because it was a pretty solid year for you. You fight two times in the UFC. You go out there, you have two grappling matches. You beat a legend, Cowboy Cerrone, and then you just keep going. So how did this all feel to have this kind of year?
Yeah, it was great. It was really cool to get the Miller fight just because I kind of was pretty vocal about was a lifelong Jim Miller fan. So especially being from New Jersey originally, that was definitely a big deal. And to get a win over somebody who's still so highly ranked in the division and such a legend. He's still out there. You see some of his recent performances of you know, he starched other prospects, and made them look like they don't belong. So could have very easily been me. So that was great. Um, Losing that fight to Jared Gordon absolutely sucked. It's been tough, but there's so much good to come out of it in the training camp to follow and so much to work on. And having that challenge of constantly trying to get better is kind of nice. It's refreshing in fighting. So that's kind of the silver lining in it. And then to come back and be able to get back and have a grappling match back home, nonetheless, right. It was in Philly, right across the bridge from where I grew up. And for that, I got to, it was the holidays. So I got to bring my family with me and have my wife there, my daughter, who, is probably never going to be able to come to a fight. She's heading to that age where now pretty soon she'll know what's going on and will be freaked out being there, So grappling's a little more reserved and she was still kind of a baby. So I got to have her come out on the mat and have that moment where, she won't remember it, but I will. And I'll have pictures like that forever. That was cool. Got to have my lifelong coach, John Hassett, in my corner for that too, which, was the biggest, tournament or match we've done together, I think, probably. Just because of the magnitude, anytime Cowboy competes or steps in a cage or on a mat, it's going to be a big deal. So really cool way to end the year. It was awesome. It was great. I'm super, super blessed for all these experiences. And that's the big thing I've realized coming off that loss was getting back into competition, just like I did the ADCC trials, did the Fight Pass Invitational where they had us come out and do a team thing representing CFFC. And then the match with Cerrone. It was I maybe would have turned my nose up at doing some grappling or something. So I'm I'm a UFC fighter now. Before that loss, I was man, I just want to get back and compete, and it's really making me cherish these opportunities to fight or compete. They may be few and far between one day.
Yeah, and I'm sure those moments with your daughter is something you'll never forget and everything else. And Jim Miller, he's a guy that's going out there and still winning. So he's still getting up there and you went out there, you beat him, you did your thing. And is this something you want to do in 2022, have a few UFC fights and also do the grappling matches on the side? Are you still trying to do the grappling matches this year too?
Last year I would have said no, and then it came up and it was a great opportunity. And now knowing how much fun they were, dude, I absolutely would. It was great. It was really, really fun. And the thing is I train with such high level jiu-jitsu guys. It's all dog jiu-jitsu. We have world-class black belts in there. So, being able to get out there and see that, maybe to win the trials, you might need to focus strictly on jiu-jitsu or to go win the jiu-jitsu worlds, but a super fight or a one-off match or anything like that, I really think I can hang with just about anybody, So that was fun to get out there and see that. So yeah, I would definitely, as long as it doesn't ever get in the way of fighting, because that's my goal is to be a world champion, and this is how I feed my family and everything else. But between fights, it's a great way to keep the sword sharp. And the thing for me was having this big layoff. It let me get out there in front of a crowd, have those nerves. There's that expectation of, I'm the jiu-jitsu guy and Cowboy's a striker or whatever, even though he's great at jiu-jitsu. It lets you stay acquainted with that adrenaline and keep working on the competitor aspect, and anytime I can do that, I think it's going to be great for me. So yeah, I will definitely hop on those. Like I said, as long as it doesn't conflict with fighting, I'm in.
Yeah, I hope we get to see more grappling matches with you. It's great to see. And let's talk about this fight. Training camp, how's it been going? You said you're training with black belts, all these guys. How's it been going down there?
Oh man, it's been great. Really tough fighter in front of me with Alex da Silva. Wasn't terribly familiar with him just because there's so many lightweights. And I always say it's always the guy you're not thinking about they offer and match up with. But I got familiar with him, well-rounded fighter, tough, dangerous, explosive. Uh, you know, had some really stiff competition in the UFC so far. So we're ready. We're training with everybody. The nice thing about this is most of my camp I've been able to do at home this time around. So our gym, I do a lot of sparring, usually down in Myrtle Beach at Fitness Edge MMA. And I work with my boxing coach there. But right now they're doing this awesome renovation and building this new gym. So The nice thing is some of those guys have been coming up and sparring with me in Wilmington. So I've been able to do, 85, 90% of my camp in Wilmington with my teammates from Fitness Edge still. Cody Jones has been coming down, Brendan Hyde, those guys have been helping me out a lot. And then my buddy Zach DeLeon, who's an awesome, awesome fighter who you'll probably never get to see because he's in law school. We always joke it's unfair that he is, giving world-class, UFC and Bellator fighters amazing rounds in the gym and still has this other skill set where he can make a ton of money being a lawyer. John Salter and all those guys at Salt's Dog. So we've been doing a lot of it, everything there. He's been helping me out in my camp so much as a coach, and a teammate, John Salter. But the nice thing is he just had his fight. So he's really been running me through a lot of things and overseeing my camp. That's been super helpful because he's just got so much knowledge. And then the other part of camp, we come to Jim O, which is about 3.5 hours from where I live. I come up here at the end of every week for Thursday and Friday. So I stay over and train up here with Jeff Jimmo, our head coach, who's just an absolute genius. And the guys up here. So I've got one guy I've been training with a lot up here is Nick Rodriguez. He's fighting for the Ring of Combat title next weekend. So you'll be seeing a lot more of him soon once he gets that title. I think either Contender Series or short notice UFC call will be coming up for him. And some other guys here. Brian Barberina is always a huge help. There's so many guys up here that have just been such a big help. So between Salty Dog, Jim O, and then everybody from Fitness Edge, we're still getting our training in, but they're coming to us, which has been awesome. And then the big thing, I always talk about my boxing coach, Chris Gow. We've still been linking up. And then in Wilmington, we were missing like that kickboxing, expert or, that coach. We didn't really have that. We kind of always had to, come to Jim O and then bring drills back and work on them as a team. Or, we have a boxing gym in town, but he doesn't really, coach too many MMA fighters, more just trains like boxers. This camp, we were lucky enough to discover a guy that had just moved here, Alan Branch, who was he was out of Winston-Salem area, and now he's living in Wilmington. So got to link up with him, and now I'm getting like kickboxing instruction from a very high-level coach who's coached like WC boxers and stuff. Pretty regularly. So we started that just before we got the fight, really. I started linking up with him, working with him, and that's been awesome too. So everything's kind of firing on all cylinders, and it just feels great to be able to walk in the gym no matter I'm in Wilmington or I'm up here in Charlotte, and there's an agenda for me. I'm being told what to do. I don't have to worry about, am I doing enough? Am I doing this? I'm being steered and guided, and I get to show up and work hard. So it's been awesome.
Yeah, it seems like it's going great. And like having all these guys to train with and having them all helping you out, willing to help you out, great teammates, it seems like, does that help you become the best possible version of yourself for this fight on June 4th? Like, you think like you're going to perform so much better now because you have these guys that are helping you, wanting to help you, showing you like what like more to do in the fight. So is this going to help you, like you think, a lot for June 4th?
Oh, without a doubt. I think the biggest thing is like we're very, very lucky because where we're at, we have the benefit of, like I said, world-class training partners, but we don't have the mega camp where you go, man, I'm walking in today and I hope coach has time for me, or I'm walking in and I'm getting like an assistant coach, which is still great. I'm not knocking any mega camp. I'm just saying this is a formula that's been proven in like boxing forever, is the guy with the fight is getting the sparring rounds and it's tailored to him. This is the first camp that I can think of in recent time where like I have been getting Shark Tanked, all my sparring rounds, all my wrestling rounds. I'm getting fresh guys that are just coming in and their whole goal is to push me, put me in bad positions, make me miserable. And the best part about it is all these guys are just high level in whatever area we're doing. If it's wrestling practice, I was, going with an All-American tonight who was putting me on my butt in wrestling, and then when we're down at Salty Dog, it's every round is the toughest, jiu-jitsu round I can think of. And then in the sparring, you're getting fresh guys and, everybody's a pro, everybody's a tough guy, everybody's well-rounded. And it's been miserable, but it's been awesome. Yeah. So I really think this is going to be the best version I could possibly be come June 4th.
Yeah. And it seems like, it may not be the best during training camp getting put on your back, but I'm sure it's going to help you for your fight and everything else. And speaking of your opponent, Alex, he is coming off a recent loss. And like you said, after you came off your recent loss, you wanted to get back in there, get it back. He's probably thinking that, I want to get back in there, get a win back in my column, feel better about it. So are you expecting like a really good Alex? Cause is going to want to go out there and get that W, of course.
Oh, absolutely. And I think coming off a loss, coming off a long layoff,
yeah.
He's at the age he is, he's just a little younger than me, not much. We're around the same. And I know for myself, every fight camp and between camps, you're making strides where you're like, man, like I should be, if I show what I can do, unrecognizable from my last fight. So the nice thing about that is I can watch his fights and see where he's very gifted, know his tendencies, but I can also go out there and know that he's probably going to be way different than what he is in the film, because he should be much better, or changing his style or making adjustments like we all do. So it kind of takes the stress out of anticipating anything and just going out there going, I'm going to be ready for whatever he's got. I'm going to make my reads and we're going to fight. And, I've been out, by the time fight night comes, probably about 8 months. So if I do my job, it should be the same thing for him. I should look nothing like I did in my last fight, or the Miller fight, or the one before that, So at this age where we're at, where we're like at the beginning of our prime, we should be changing every single fight. So yeah, I think he's going to be the best version of him. And that's, that was the other thing with the grappling, was like getting to remember like how much I love to compete and test myself. The trials is the perfect example. It was just an exciting day of going out there and being like, all right, I don't know who's in this bracket of 250 people. There's 50 world-class guys, 50 guys below that are awesome. And then the rest are, I don't really know them. Who am I drawing? Who's next? I want to match. Who's next? You're getting to go out there, make your reads on the spot, and just compete. And that reminded me like, oh yeah, like you take away the pressure of having to get your win bonus, or the pressure of, 2 or 3 losses in your cut or whatever else. Like it's about competing, and that's what got me back to that mindset of like, I can't wait to compete on June 4th, and it has been a little while since I wasn't just really nervous about the outcome of a fight, instead going, I can't wait to get out there and see these shots coming and feel it and try to put him on his butt or hit him with a good shot or whatever it might be. I'm very, very excited to go out and compete. And it's the first time in a long time it's been like that. I think the last time I felt like that was probably the Hubbard fight, because it was COVID, everything was shut down, and you were just like, man, I'm super blessed to be able to go out and compete and make a living right now. That's how you feel coming off a loss. So it should be the best version of him and the best version of me.
Yeah, I mean, if we're getting 2 best versions of both of you, it's going to be a great fight, making me excited. Already am excited for this matchup. And I always ask that every fighter I have on, fill in the blank. Joe is going to win by blank on June 4th. How do you see this fight playing out, man?
Pressure and grinding. I'm going to weather the storm. I'm going to be back in his face the entire time. I think that's the one positive. I mean, there's probably more than one positive, but for my last fight, even on an off night, even on a night where things aren't going my way, like I'm going to be standing in front of you, coming forward, taking what you got and throwing back, So, yeah, I'm going to win. I'm going to win by pressure, God willing. I'm going to go out there, going to perform best of my capabilities. I'm going to represent my coaches, my team, my family. And, the whole goal for me is, to glorify God with what he's given me. And that means I have to go out there and give like a superb effort. That's my plan. So if I do all those things, I think my hand should get raised.
Yeah, no doubt. I couldn't agree more with what you just said. And you go out there June 4th, you get the W. When do you think you want to get back in there? Like what would you think about maybe like a McGregor pay-per-view in fall, being on a card like that, all the eyes are tuned in, or something like International Fight Week end of July? What do you think about like cards like that? When do you want to get back in there?
Yeah, I'm not really looking past this, because there's nothing beyond that, but I want to go out there and put on the best performance I possibly can, and hopefully that'll be pleasing to whoever's watching, but also the bosses, the matchmakers. And I would like to be more active this year, so I would like to fight at least before the end of the year. I don't want to get specific and ask for anything. What you just named sounds awesome. Like I know there's always good trickle down from a McGregor pay-per-view if Dana gets happy and hands out extra bonuses and all that stuff. So it's never bad to be on something like that, but I can't control any of that. But I would like to be more active than I've been. I've always been ready to go. I train all year long. That's what the thing is. Like, I think this fight, we were like 7.5 weeks out and we got the notice, but it's like, I'm already in a camp, kind of. I'm always in a camp, so I'm always doing everything I'm supposed to. I'm always eating good. I'm always training hard. I'm always doing conditioning. I'm always sparring. So like, yeah, I just want to be active. I want to be active and just, go to work for my family and get out there and put on good performances.
Yeah, I mean, based on what I'm hearing in this interview, it seems like your training camp's going well. It seems like you're ready, you're prepared. I mean, I think we're going to get a great version of yourself on June 4th. I'm looking forward to it. And last thing here, thanks again for the time. I got to ask you, since I just met you, what does Joe like to do in his free time besides fighting and everything else, training?
Yeah, I mean, before I'd like to, I mean, even then, not that much, but I like to fish. We're down here in North Carolina. Everybody likes to saltwater fish down here. But I'm from New Jersey, which we have saltwater fishing too. But I'm from like South Jersey, not the shore. So like I like bass fishing. I have a little kayak I like to get out. But right now I have a 2-year-old that is in charge of everything right now. So we spend time with her, and it's our favorite thing to do. I mean, we laugh like once in a blue moon, me and my wife get to go out, just us, for like, what do we talk about besides the baby? Like, she's awesome, So just being with my family, man. We literally, it could be anything, like hanging out, watching TV. I never knew I could like Moana, or Encanto. Like, I'm looking forward to watching these movies 3 times a day and like seeing them 500 times. But just watching her grow, and it's awesome because I talked about in an interview earlier today. It was like there was a time where I didn't know, like things were so uncertain fighting on the regional scene. We couldn't afford to have a family or, provide for a child and everything. Like, it seems so far off that like now we're living in like the things that we prayed for and wanted so badly. So hanging out with her is awesome. I love to get outside. We love to go to the beach. We live in Wilmington. We're on the coast. So luckily, I don't know if it's genetics or just us bringing her to the beach since she's been a newborn, but my daughter loves the beach too. So now the weather's warming up, we can do that a lot too. So that's what we like to do as a family.
Yeah, beach time, you can't beat it. It's always great going down the beach. And you said you watch the movies. Do you ever get to watch any, like, you see any UFC pay-per-views, like you tune into those too?
Oh yeah, man. I love to watch pretty much we used to watch every card. Now
Yeah.
it's every so we probably watch like every third card. We watched last weekend, we rented the pay-per-view, which is like splurging for us. Usually I get an illegal stream. But we had some people over and actually paid. Dana, don't fire me. But yeah, so I love to watch fights. My wife loves to watch fights. As the fight gets closer, it's kind of nice to have a Saturday and just like watch a movie or watch some mindless TV or something. But yeah, we are big fight fans in our house. Even my little one, like, she calls it pop pop. She'll scream at the TV and she pop 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 pop. I'm like, you should probably be watching like a kid's movie, but we're around it. There's no way to hide what it is that I do. So I'm always watching something on my phone or on the TV, and she's like looking at it, throwing little air punches. So yeah, we're big fight fans in our house.
Seems like she's an upcoming fight fan right there. And for you, man, thanks again for your time. It was really great to speak with you. Nice meeting you. And if you want to thank any sponsors, shout out any social media, the floor is yours, man.
Yeah, man, I would love to just be able to thank all the people that helped me. Mostly, my coaches. We talked about them, but just one more time, just Jeff Jimmo, our head coach, who's an absolute genius in every single department. It's crazy. Someone came up and trained last week, and they were like, okay, so I just watched him putting Brian Barberina through his conditioning. He coached you through your sparring in the cage after that. Then he took you outside for your sprints, came back up, put you through a sled workout. Then he went and taught like a 90-year-old leg lock. And then he was teaching a kickboxing class. Like, this guy does it all. I was like, yes, that's exactly what makes him so special. But he's an expert in every area. John Salter, who has been just a huge guide in my career. He's one of my best friends in the world, but also I have so much respect for him, like beyond friendship is like as a mentor. He's just been a really, really great guide for me, where I can just be like, I can go to him with anything, and especially in fighting, but in life too. I couldn't ask for a better coach. All the training partners we talked about. I want to thank my boxing coach, Chris Gowd, who has just worked with me and still does, tolerates all my terrible mistakes. I'm still making as a grappler, picking up striking, and I want to thank Alan Branch, who's been helping me a ton this camp, and who, has been used to working with lifelong kickboxers and boxers, and now is taking on a grappler. I can kickbox for sure. I think I've showed that in my fights, but my base is grappling. So for him to take on that challenge has been awesome. I really appreciate that. And most importantly is going to be my wife. She holds it down. I'm up here training in Charlotte while she's at home taking care of a 2-year-old. She's going to work too, just like I do every single day, and then comes home and takes care of us. Her and my daughter have just been, amazing, man. They're everything. They're my inspiration. So it's been awesome. And all of our friends and family who, it really does it takes a village to raise a kid, but it takes a village to raise a kid when you're going through fight camp. People that are willing to, maybe I need to take an extra training session. I need somebody to watch our daughter or something. Like, we have a great group of friends who's willing to kind of have each other's back in that. And I'm really thankful for them, sponsors. I just have so many, people who support me and make it possible for me to fight, A&A Produce in Myrtle Beach. They actually sponsored my very first amateur fight, and they've hopped on board for this fight. So I want to thank them. My buddy who runs a podcast called New Heart Theology, Kevin Lehman, who is just a great, great friend of mine, and has really, really, really been a huge impact in my life, and my faith life, and my life overall, and just been a great friend. And he trains with us. So that's awesome. So he gets to see like the behind the scenes of like, he trains jiu-jitsu, but he always gets to, I'm always talking to him and venting to him about, how tough fight camp is or whatever it might be, and he's just been a great friend. And his podcast is really, really informative. If you're looking to dive deeper on your faith, I strongly recommend anybody check that out. It's helped me a ton. Another podcast, actually, Dad Tired, that I went on as a guest for dads and husbands, and we ended up becoming, friendly through there and friends. Jared's great, and they actually sponsored me this fight. SNS Recovery, who's my best friend for a long time, has been sponsoring me. It's his father's company, and they're just, they've traveled to every single fight I have. It's crazy. I want to thank my brother, Conquer Movement Physical Therapy, who's been keeping me healthy. And there's so many more, but those are the ones that, have definitely been really, really, really helpful this camp. And it's so crazy how when you pursue something and you're really just trying to do a good thing, it's crazy to see how many people come out and support, and It's been from the beginning of my career, and most of the people, maybe if I didn't know them at the very beginning and they came on a little later, but like I haven't feel like I've lost anybody. Everybody's been so supportive. Like I said, I've had the same people that were at my UFC debut were coming to Bethlehem, Pennsylvania for my second amateur fight to watch, and that's really something special when you get that undying support. I really don't think I'd be here without any of them. So just want to thank all of them and everybody who supports me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it seems like you got a great group of people with by your side, and I'm sure that's great to have. But yeah, thanks again for your time, man. Good luck for the June 4th fight. I'll be tuned in. Thanks again, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man.
Yeah,
Thanks so much.
appreciate you too. Have a great day.
Take care.